what is it like to study in Australia? If that is a question you have been wondering, well, wonder no more, because we have with us an expert who is going to explain what it's like and what the evolving changes are when it comes to Australian higher education, especially for internationals. So joining me is an expert from RMIT, Royal Melbourne Institute of Technology, and he's here for a very special reason. So let's get to know him first.
So my name's Tom Gifford. I'm the Director of Global Student Recruitment at RMIT University.
So I understand this is not your first time in Sri Lanka either. Now, when you came here last, since then, there have been a few changes when it comes to the higher education rules and regulations done by the government of Australia, especially to international students. How has that changed exactly? And I mean, do you see it as a challenge, or is it something that, you know, we can, with proper planning, overcome those challenges?
So yes, there's always changed in terms of government policy, but in terms of the way that students want to study in Australia, the first thing students need to do is look at the university that best suits them,
right,
lodge an application with that university, and then get an offer for that university.
Right.
Then students can then apply for a student visa. And without going into all of the requirements, essentially the key message that we give to students is apply early, get your applications in, so that when you are applying to the school of your choice, you give the timing to get your visa through.
Okay.
You give plenty of time. So that's really the key message that we would.
The key is plan ahead and put things into, I guess, get the ball rolling on time, or rather ahead of time.
Yep. Plan ahead and apply to a good school. And what the Australian government does is put measures in place to ensure that students are well protected. So that means that we want to make sure that you've got that financial backing to ensure that you can study adequately. And we want to make sure that we're attracting the best and brightest to Australia.
Now, talking about these universities, RMIT is big. It's not just big for us Sri Lankans, because it's one of the popular universities for Sri Lankans to go to, but it's popular worldwide. Over 100 nationalities, 90,000 students across all your universities.
Yeah, so RMIT is a massive university. It's huge. So we have over 90,000 students.
Right.
Majority in our Melbourne campuses. So we have 3 campuses in Melbourne, but we also have 2 campuses in Vietnam.
Okay.
We deliver programs in Singapore, and we have a number of small study centres in other countries across the globe. So we are a big university.
And it's not just big, it's not a big university, it's not only a big university, but it's also accessible to anyone.
Yeah.
Because I think before this you were telling me about the starting ethos of the school, which is very interesting.
Yeah, so RMIT, when RMIT was born, many years ago, it was set up as a working man's college. So the ethos of that college at that time was to give people the skills to get a job. And since those times, RMIT has become a university outright. We've reached the top 125 universities in the world, but that ethos of getting people ready for work still remains. So why is that important and why is that different? Because when you study at RMIT, you're not just learning, you've got your hands on. So for example, if you're starting an IT degree or a computer science degree at RMIT, your first subject will be doing a boot camp. We're a university that runs short, swift Apple coding programs. We work with Microsoft, we work with AWS. So our students get that chance to work with global corporations and ultimately help them get a good job.
And I think
we have 3 colleges at the university, or 4 colleges. One is our College of Vocational Education.
Right.
So again, going back to our roots, giving people practical skills. We've got business and law, we've got our STEM programs, and we've got our design and social context. So lots of programs, and I guess
you're covering the entire spectrum there.
We cover the spectrum. And I guess technology plays a really big theme in the subjects that we teach at.
Now, something you said I wanted to ask about, because you guys have a practical sense of how you approach education. It's not just the practicality, but those industry ties. How helpful is it for a person who just got that degree to then go out and find a job? Because it's not easy nowadays.
Yeah, really good question. And I think even the program that we've just run for the short few weeks here in Sri Lanka, it was RMIT working with HEX, one of our partners, plus Medibank, one of our industry partners. So really that just epitomizes the way that RMIT works. So everything we do is in partnership, and we try and build that industry component in.
Right.
So when a student is studying at RMIT University, from the moment they arrive, they're getting work integrating learning placements, they're getting practical experience with industry input. Right. But importantly, we also give kids that support. So when they're in Melbourne, we help them with services like finding part-time work. Or when they're getting towards that final graduation point, we actually run activities to help students get ready for a job.
The outside work.
What should your CV look like? How do you interview well for a job? What types of job are you eligible for? Yeah, so lots of help.
Now, as in that theme of helping your students, what is RMIT offering to help people from Sri Lanka, especially students from Sri Lanka who have their dreams in Australia, to navigate that process?
Yeah, good question. Well, you're right. Sri Lanka or Sri Lankan students love to study in Australia, and they love studying in Melbourne. And of course, one of the reasons why we're here running a global summer school program is because kids from Sri Lanka tend to really resonate with what RMIT teaches, particularly those industry linkages as well. So what do we do to help students from Sri Lanka? Well, we actually have a scholarship program. So students from Sri Lanka are eligible for a 20% scholarship when they study at RMIT. So that's something that the market loves. But for us, it's also about working closely with high school students here to give them that taste of the program before they make that decision. So our global summer school is really a try before.
Oh, that's what this is. That's why you're here as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
The summer school.
The summer school. Yeah.
So when you're doing these programs here in Sri Lanka, you have partners here that you work with.
Yeah. So we deliver part of the program online.
Right.
And then we have an organisation that we work with called HEX, who helps us run the program. They also help us or help our students with internships when they're in Melbourne. We're also with Medibank, who are our preferred overseas health cover partner. So they help us in terms of running the program as well. And again, I guess that's what's really important about a university like RMIT.
Yes.
We can help give students that access to big employers, big partners that are based in Melbourne. And if I talk about Medibank, for example, we have a number of our students, including our students from Sri Lanka, that end up with internships in Melbourne as well.
Wow, okay.
So, yeah,
do you have an example of someone who's done everything and gone through the mill, and someone who's done well?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So we actually have a really active alumni chapter here in Sri Lanka, which is great because we get to hear what our students are doing when they come home. And it was a couple of years ago now, Rad, but we ran an event where I met up with one of our alumni who had studied with RMIT quite a few years ago, and he'd done his PhD in water management. He came back to Sri Lanka working with the United Nations, but based in Colombo, and working in rural parts of Sri Lanka to help improve the water quality for
that's heartwarming to hear, because I mean, people go, and a lot of the assumption here is, they're just gonna go and not come back. But I guess it's in a way because of what RMIT teaches, the values and ethos and the ethics, because they come back and they give back to the community as well. That's amazing. And that's actually what you need, right? You want people coming out of RMIT, or really any university, to have the education is not just to have been educated, but then use it practically to give back and improve. And I guess RMIT is not doing that across just one sector, but like you said, 480 programs, 480 programs. And I recently found out that from January 2025 to, I believe, August, the statistic is approximately 18,000 students who've gone to Australia to study for their higher education. I tried to find out how many people went to RMIT, but that's a little tough to find. But I do assume a lot of people do go to RMIT.
Yeah, really popular university for both our domestic students and our international students. So, I mean, we have over, almost 30,000 students across our domestic and international students that commence their RMIT journey each year. So it's a big university, and those students that do come from Sri Lanka get to work and sit alongside Australians, students from Mexico, students from Saudi Arabia, students from China, India, all around the world. So it's a great experience for students to get those global connections. So
that exposure is very rare to find as well. One of the things that we come across nowadays is, I don't know if it's forbidden or not, but it's AI. As soon as AI comes into the picture, you're like, oh, he totally used AI to cheat. But that's not what's happening, because learning methods have changed. I mean, when I was learning about 20 years ago. Don't want to say too much. I don't want people knowing how old I am, really. But compared to those days, the way people learn now, the way students learn now is very different because of the advent of technology, of how fast it's evolving, and AI. But RMIT does something wonderful. They actually teach students to develop and evolve with technology.
Yeah, absolutely. And AI is the buzzword, right? And all universities are really thinking about, right, how do we grapple with this massive change in the way that we think and learn and have knowledge at our fingertips? But to your point, RMIT, technology is a theme across all of our programs. So it's really easy to think, okay, if you do a computer science degree or a cybersecurity degree at RMIT, then of course AI is a component of that, and there's a digital stream through that. But if I think about, just last month we had our big open day events in Melbourne, where all of our Australian students come and check out the campus for a day. And I go into the medical labs, and there's body-sized screens where students from day one, body-sized flat screens, where you can, from day one, if you're doing say for example, a nursing degree, you can actually start to operate on a digital body. And if I think back to during COVID, which seems so long ago now, that really caused us to think, well, how do we offer counselling support, English language support, study support when everyone's working from home? So even that made us, or forced us to think about, how do we give students what they need in the channel that they need. So AI, for example, RMIT has created our own version of ChatGPT, which we call Val. Which students log in, access Val, and it allows them to access knowledge, but in a much more secure way. So that's one way that RMIT is embracing technology. We're not against AI. We're like, this is here. We've got to think about the way that students access knowledge
and how to use it as a tool to
get
ahead, right?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that there is a support system, especially when it comes to counselling, student guidance, all that stuff.
Yeah. One of the benefits of students studying in Australia, first of all, is our international student sector is really highly regulated by the government, which means there's lots of protections for international students, which is great. Then as a university, really the student experience is the most important thing for us as a university. So we want to make sure that really before a student has even set foot in Australia, they have everything that they need to be able to ensure that they have a really, really positive experience in Melbourne. So for example, we run regular pre-departure sessions. So before you travel to Melbourne, we can give you everything that you need before you arrive. And then once students do arrive, we pick our students up from the airport. We help them with accommodation. We help them with opening up a bank account, looking for part-time work. So there's lots of support for international students, and that's really important because, as you've said, it's a massive step. But
it is.
Students should feel reassured that there's lots of support for them.
So I guess that falls into what it would feel like to study in Australia, because you're taken care of. Does that by any chance extend like the process of applying and getting your offer and then the visa processes, all that? Is there anything in particular that RMIT could help with, or that you would advise students to do?
Yeah, sure. So I guess the first thing is when you're thinking about studying overseas, the best advice is apply early.
Yes.
So apply to the school that you're most interested in as early as you can. You don't have to wait till you get your final, say your A-level results from Sri Lanka before you can apply. You can apply much earlier than that, and then we can give you what's called a conditional offer.
Okay.
Which means you've got your offer in your hand, you can start to plan, and then you might have a condition on the offer that says, okay, before we give you your full offer,
right,
you need to provide, say, these 2 documents. So one might be your final certificates. But once you've got that first offer, that just means you can start to move. And then the university has lots of information which will then guide students about what they need to do next. But the key point is, and you mentioned at the start, Rad, about changing policy environments, but I think the key takeaway is Australia is extremely welcoming to international students.
Yes.
There's more places available for international students next year than this year. So, but the key thing is give yourself plenty of time so that you've got time to get your visa. You want to arrive a couple of weeks before your course starts to give you time to settle in, work out where your local supermarket is, make some friends. Again, going back to that question that you asked earlier about technology and AI, there's lots of information that students can access online while they're studying, but you cannot beat the face-to-face element of working closely with your classmates and also getting to know your academic and teacher as well. And I think one of the things that particularly students from Sri Lanka say is just how informal the relationship is with your teacher or academic as
because here we're used to something a little different. I wouldn't say informal, I wouldn't say too formal either, but I guess it's a different feel. To our viewers, is there one final thing that you can say? The one thing, if they are thinking of applying to make their Australian dream come true, what is the one thing that they can do perhaps today or in the next week, like the one important thing that they should do?
One of the most multicultural places in the world. So a fantastic place to start your study journey.
Yes.
And really connect with other students from all across the world. But in terms of the actual question, the biggest thing is to plan.
Fair enough.
Apply early, work out what school best fits your study or your career, the outcomes that you want to achieve in your career. And think about not just what you want to study, but what are you interested in? What are you passionate about? Where do you see your career going?
Right.
And then plan and apply early.
Yes.
And then get things in motion so that you're not waiting right until the last minute.
Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen, from Tom. Thank you very much, Tom, for joining us. It's been a pleasure, and we hope that people can go to RMIT, go to Australia, and live their dreams and figure out, or rather, give back to the community. And of course, we heard a few success stories from you as well. So thank you once again for joining us.